The book of Revelation, a whirlwind of symbolic imagery, unveils a chilling prophecy, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. These harbingers of judgment ride forth, each upon a distinct steed, signifying the unfolding of God's wrath upon a sinful world. The fourth horse and its rider, described in Revelation 6, 7-8, paint a particularly grim picture. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. These verses set the stage for understanding the fourth horseman's terrifying purpose. The horse, described as pale, immediately evokes a sense of dread. Its colour, or lack thereof, suggests decay, disease, and the draining of life itself. This is no noble steed, but rather a ghastly apparition mirroring the nature of its rider. Atop this unsettling mount sits Death personified. No longer an abstract concept, Death takes on a terrifyingly tangible form. This figure embodies the cessation of life, the inevitable end that awaits all humanity. His very presence signifies the unleashing of an unstoppable force. The rider's identity is unmistakable: Death. The Greek word used here, thanatos, leaves no room for ambiguity. John's vision doesn't end with the identification of the rider. He adds a chilling detail, "and hell followed with him." This phrase, open to interpretation, has stirred much debate among biblical scholars. Some believe it refers to Hades, the realm of the dead, following in Death's wake to claim the souls he harvests. Others interpret it as a symbolic representation of the insatiable nature of death, consuming all in its path like a ravenous beast. This interpretation aligns with the imagery of Hades as a place of eternal separation from God, amplifying the spiritual consequences of the fourth horseman's arrival. Regardless of the specific interpretation, the presence of Hades, whether as a physical entity or a symbolic representation, underscores the absolute and irreversible nature of the fourth horseman's power. Death, once unleashed, leaves no room for negotiation or escape. The fourth horseman is not merely a bringer of death, he embodies it. He is the personification of mortality, the inevitable end that awaits all living things. His arrival signifies the breaking down of the natural order, the unleashing of chaos and destruction on a scale never before witnessed. This horseman is unique among the four. While the others represent specific calamities, conquest, war and famine, death is the ultimate consequence. He is the embodiment of the finality of judgment, the irreversible end that awaits those who reject God's grace. To fully grasp the significance of the fourth horseman, we must consider him within the context of the other three. They are not isolated figures, but rather part of a terrifying procession, each horseman building upon the destruction wrought by the one before. The first horseman, riding a white horse, symbolizes conquest or tyranny. He represents the rise of false power and the seduction of worldly authority. His arrival signifies the erosion of truth and the perversion of justice, setting the stage for the chaos that follows. Next comes the second horseman, astride a fiery red steed, representing war and bloodshed. He embodies the escalation of conflict, the unleashing of violence and hatred on a global scale. His arrival marks the breakdown of peace and the descent into widespread carnage. The third horseman, mounted on a black horse, signifies famine and scarcity. He represents the collapse of societal structures, the desperation born of hunger and deprivation. His arrival heralds widespread suffering and the disintegration of the social order. The fourth horseman, riding his pale horse, arrives as the culmination of these horrors. Death is the inevitable consequence of tyranny, war, and famine. He reaps the harvest sown by the preceding horseman, claiming the lives ravaged by conflict, starvation, and despair. The four horsemen, united in their deadly purpose, form a terrifying tableau of judgment. They represent the unraveling of civilization, the consequences of humanity's rebellion against God. Their procession serves as a stark warning, a reminder of the fragility of peace and the ultimate price of sin.